I am just going to treat every fat creator, especially turned into a weight loss influencer, as if they've died.
That's crazy to say, right? And then in the caption, you see Rip Angelica, right? So Angelica is the woman that has left fat acceptance or whatever, is trying to lose weight. That's, in my opinion, unhinged behavior. What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today, we're going to be talking about something that honestly, at this point, almost seems familiar, but I feel like this example is a really, really good example of what I've talked about in the past. And so what we're going to be talking about is a TikTok creator that decided to make a TikTok talking about how they were part of fat acceptance for a while and they felt that they gained a lot of weight, and they have recently decided that they want to lose weight and just take control of their health and kind of take control of their life. The video that this creator released, I felt is it's nothing crazy. It's not like an insane, they're saying all these terrible things about other people. It's very, very chill. They're just talking about their experience. But of course, people had an issue with that. And so first thing we're going to do is go over that initial video where the creator is talking about leaving fat acceptance. So this is the original video where the creator is talking about leaving fat acceptance. And it says right here, what I eat in a day, in a calorie deficit, leaving fat acceptance and taking control of my life. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what this creator has to say.
I remember going on my first diet when I was in kindergarten because my doctor told me I was overweight. So from childhood up until I would say my early 20s, I was always on some sort of diet and hated how I looked. At about 18 years old, I had my first outbreak of an autoimmune disorder, and I gained a lot of weight from being on steroids, which led me to finding the body positivity community online. During the lockdown, I started learning a lot about fat acceptance, and I fell into that community. I ballooned up to 200.
So I think like with that, hearing that story, it's one that's so common that we've heard so many times now. And I think a lot of people, they have a lot of disdain and a lot of hate for the fat acceptance community or body positivity community, especially people that, you know, make videos kind of similar to this, like that are, you know, quote unquote against it, I guess. But I can see the value in it, and I can understand why people they seek it out, because for a lot of us, especially of us that grew up overweight, it was just so common to feel othered at every point in life. You always felt like you were doing something wrong, or there was something wrong with you. You always felt like it was this thing you had to get rid of, and it made you inherently a bad person because of the weight. And so I can understand why people seek out body positivity and seek out fat acceptance, because especially if you're someone that has grown up overweight, you feel for so long like your body is a problem that needs to be solved, not just because of the health implications of it, but because it makes you undesirable. It means that you're all these really negative attributes that people a lot of times will put on these, you know, bigger individuals. And I can understand why people get into it. But again, obviously there is a dark side about this community that we will definitely be talking about.
170 pounds, thinking that my genetics were what's making me fat. It made me feel so helpless and like I was trapped in this body. And it once again made me feel like I had no control over my body and what it looked like. It made me feel resentful towards anyone that was in a smaller body. After being involved in the fat acceptance movements for a couple of years, I started getting recommended anti-fat acceptance videos on YouTube and started watching them. I had a come to Jesus moment. It made me realize that, yeah, I was fat because of what I was eating and that I wasn't moving. My genetics was not an excuse for being my size. While that does seem kind of...
Yeah, and I think that like that might seem, it's crazy that might seem extreme to people. And I can understand the argument that, you know, there are certain things that are out of your control when it comes to your size, but, and it's a big but, the thing that is important is that most people, especially people that are significantly overweight, a lot of times there are, and I think it's ridiculous to assume that there's nothing is in your control, right? There are things that are in your control. And a lot of us, when we get to that size, we become complacent. And a lot of times we start to believe that there is something wrong with us that makes it impossible to lose weight. And I think it's really, really important that we drive home the fact that that's not the truth, because I just don't want people to feel like they are trapped in a body and there's nothing they can do about it, because I could only imagine, like I remember how I felt when I used to feel like I was just, you know, I was born to be big. I used to have a shirt that I would wear that said that on it, right? Like I felt like there was just nothing I could do about it. It was my genetics. I had no metabolism. That was a joke I would make. And that's just a really it's a hell that I don't wish on anyone, I guess is the best way to put it.
Kind of mean and a little harsh, it made me realize that I do have control over what I look like and how I feel about myself. Which is why at 27, I have decided to learn what a healthy lifestyle is and lose weight. For some reason right now, it feels different than any diet that I've been on. I'm not stressed out and I'm not judging myself. I'm just making small changes in hopes to live the best life that I can. And I hope that you know that you can do the same thing too.
So, and I really like that, like saying that it's not about, like, she's not saying that, you know, you have to do this. It's about realizing your potential and the fact that you can make these significant changes. And that's the thing I always talk about when I talk about weight loss, is that it's one of those things that our weight can affect our lives so drastically much. It's unbelievable how much it can affect and make you not be able to do. And the realization that you actually can make a significant difference in your weight, and then in turn change so much about your life and what you can and can't do. It's like, that is the thing that I want people to see, and I want them to realize that they are not stuck in this loop of something that will never change. Now, like I said, when this video came out, there were a few videos of people being upset, and there was a few that I watched, but this one that we're going to go over probably does the best of showcasing how a lot of people in the fat acceptance community, when you talk about leaving, they don't just see it as, oh, you know, okay, that's fine. They see it as an attack on them, and a lot of times they will put words into these people's mouths that are never said, just to make anyone, in my opinion, anyone that is trying to lose weight or become an ex-fat, right? It makes them into a villain that they can say this person is evil and everything they do is bad, and it's just ridiculous. So in this video, it's Angelica responding to a creator that goes by the name of Gay Doodle Bear, talking about that initial video where she was saying she was going to leave fat acceptance.
Now on, I am just going to treat every fat creator, especially turned into a weight loss influencer, as if they've died.
That's crazy to say, right? And then in the caption, you see "Rip Angelica," right? So Angelica is the woman that has left fat acceptance or whatever, is trying to lose weight. That's, in my opinion, unhinged behavior. Like, truly is unhinged.
Yesterday, I had to block a mutual who had posted a video that I at first thought was satire. Like, they were talking about their journey from body positivity into fat acceptance as like a delusion that they were holding.
Thank you for being so respectful when talking about my journey. When I talked about my journey in my video, I was very authentic and very vulnerable. But in case you didn't see that video, I will sum it up, maybe even elaborate, because I don't know why she's thinking it was so negative. In my video,
that's exactly like the perfect way to put it. I don't know why she thought it was so negative. The reason is, from what I've seen, is that anyone that talks about wanting to lose weight in any capacity is the same as someone saying, if you're fat, you're disgusting and vile. And when I was fat, I was disgusting and vile and I hated myself, when that's not what was said in the original video, right?
I mentioned that I went on my first diet when I was in kindergarten because I was told I was overweight by my doctor. And then flash forward to about 18 years old, I had an outbreak of my autoimmune disorder. It was my first one. And my autoimmune disorder is called HSP vasculitis. Look it up. It's pretty rare. All of the blood vessels in the bottom half of my legs, the calves, literally exploded. And I had open wounds all the way down from my knees to my feet.
Dang.
I still have scars on my legs to this day. I couldn't even show pictures of it on TikTok because it honestly looks like something that came out of a horror movie. And when that was happening, the doctors could not figure out what was wrong with me for a very long time. So I was on steroids and opioids until everything calmed down. And during that time, I gained a lot of weight. I have stretch marks. I felt literally disgusting because my skin was rotting off of me. And during that time, I learned about the body positivity movement. And during that time, I found a lot of comfort and love in the idea of knowing that I have value no matter what I look like, even if I could not love myself in that moment.
And like, again, like I've said, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? I've always said there are positives to the fat acceptance, body positive, whatever movement you want to call it, right? There are positives to it. And I think that what she's explaining here is definitely one of those positives, right?
And I continued being in that body positivity for quite a long time until I found the fat liberation movement, which a lot of us did on TikTok during the lockdown. And again, I found a lot of comfort and safety in that community for years. I never thought it was like some weird psychosis or delusion. It was reality. But as the years went on, I started to realize I didn't really like this community and how they treated other people. And I don't like how this person is treating me or talking about my story.
It's like a delusion that they were holding, that they do in fact have full control over their body and their fatness, and it's their responsibility to lose weight.
And that's one of the biggest issues. One of the biggest issues I have with the fat acceptance community is the fact that it's basically agreed upon in that community that it is impossible to lose weight. It is impossible to change certain things and lose weight. There are certain people, I'm sure it's with their genetic conditions that they have, that it makes losing weight incredibly difficult. But for the vast majority of people that have 50, 100, whatever pounds to lose, they're absolutely, without a doubt, are things that they are doing daily. There are habits that they have that if they change them would result in weight loss, but also in so many other positive things for them. But there are so many people that are in that feeling that it is literally impossible for them to lose weight. So when they see stuff like this of people losing weight, they don't even think that they will. They one, think that they're silly for even trying because it's impossible to lose weight. And then they see if someone is actually talking about it and making it public, they are doing a disservice to other fat people. That's one of the biggest issues I have.
And everyone else should lose weight too.
See, the thing is, when you are in the fat acceptance movement, they say things like, your genetic makeup is responsible for why you are fat, or fat people can't control that they are fat, and like diets don't work, and intake, outtake that isn't real. Mm-hmm. So when you are involved in these movements, you start to think, I'm so helpless over what I look like in my health. What my body looks like is already determined. And in reality, it's not. My genetics didn't make me fat. Me, during the lockdown, not moving, not going outside, not seeing any friends, eating boxes of pasta by myself, only drinking Diet Dr. Pepper is why I was fat. Never in
I mean, we don't have to do any diet soda shaming here, okay?
that video did I say, well, it's my responsibility to lose the fatness. I came to the conclusion that my life is in my control, whether that is my career, my appearance, how much I weigh, my friends, what I'm doing. So guess what? I wanted to work on my health, especially my mental health, because at that time I literally wanted to unalive myself because of all the isolation during the lockdown. My mental health was so bad. So I started seeing a psychiatrist. I got prescribed the right medication. Then I was finally in a good enough mood to start taking my health seriously. So I cut out the Diet Dr. Pepper and I started drinking water. And then slowly I started eating more protein, which these changes literally took years for me to do. During all of those changes, I simultaneously lost weight.
Which is something that is going to happen to a lot of people, right? And that's what I talk about. I think a lot of times when people talk about like fat acceptance and their issues with people that are intentionally trying to lose weight, that's like the new thing that's talked about a lot. But like the vast majority of people, especially if you are severely overweight, you don't even have to be intentionally trying to lose weight. But if you just start doing quote unquote healthy behaviors, like going on more walks, working out in some capacity at all, right? Watching what you're eating, not only eating like really unhealthy foods at every meal, right? You will start to lose weight again, especially if you are severely overweight. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just silly, some of the stuff that they will say, in my opinion.
I wasn't doing it on purpose until a couple months ago. I decided to take my weight loss a little bit more seriously. In my video, you can go back and watch it. It's still up and still getting tons of hate comments. Nowhere in that fucking video do I say every fat person should take responsibility and lose weight. Yeah, the whole video was about me and my experience. Not one time did I make a generalization about fat people. Not one time did I degrade them or say anything mean or harass anyone. I literally talked about my journey. You know, it took a lot of courage to post that video because I knew exactly this would happen. When you talk about leaving communities, instead of being like, okay, bye, it was nice having you, they want to start bullying you.
I think part of it is because there are certain people in that community that they almost feel like guilty or shamed or shameful because maybe secretly it's like, maybe subconsciously, I don't know, but deep down it's something that they kind of want, but they feel that they can't have it, right? Because this is something that I've talked about so many times on the channel, is that when you get really ingrained in that community and you make that your whole personality, there's really no option. You can't just start losing weight. People will literally be upset with you, right? And so I wonder if that's part of it. Is it like the fact that they're almost upset that someone is leaving, and there's maybe a hint of jealousy there? I don't know. Could be that.
And what does that say about a community that just bullies everyone that leaves? I'm more of a libertarian than any of these fat liberation activists, because I don't give a flying fuck about what anyone does with their body as long as they're not harming other people. You could go starve yourself. You could go eat 3 boxes of pizza. I don't care, because it's not my life. I want everyone to have the best life that they can, but that's out of my control.
To lose weight, and everyone else should lose weight too. So like, as far as I'm concerned, she's dead now. I don't care what anyone does with their body. It's when people start dictating to others, especially fat people, what they should be doing with their bodies that I draw the line.
Again, nowhere in my fucking video did I say every fat person should lose weight. Everyone should do this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was never said in the video, and I think there's a reason why that person didn't play the video before, because they know that a lot of the stuff that they're saying is just blatant lies, right? And they would be called out for that.
I ended the video with a very inspiring message, and all I said was, and you can do this too. You can do it if you want. I'm not saying you should. I'm not holding this up to your head telling you to do this, because guess what? We're all adults here, and we can all do whatever we want, which includes me.
It's a reminder again about why, unless it's fat liberation, it doesn't mean shit.
And once again, I will say it. I do not care what you do with your body. I don't care about what you look like. I don't care if you're fat. I don't care if you're skinny. I don't care if you're mid-sized. You, me, and everyone else can do whatever the flying fuck they want. Of course, this person blocked me, so I couldn't see this video on my own. One of my mutuals just sent it to me. And I assume that's probably where all the hate comments came from.
Yeah, the person that made that response video that she's responding to there apparently is private now, so you can't even go and see the videos at all. And so I don't really know what that's all about. But with that being said, I really wanted to share that story. I think that it's really interesting, and I think it really kind of shows exactly what we've talked about before on the channel, is that like, if you're in the fat acceptance or body positivity or fat liberation movement and you decide to make a change, people will literally be upset with you about that. And it's just a very interesting thing that people now with social media have to deal with, something that I didn't really have to deal with when I was losing weight over 10 years ago. I've been doing this for a while, but it's definitely not something that I'm jealous about, because I can only imagine that just adds another stressor to something that's already hard enough. But I'm genuinely curious what y'all think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.